If you live in the city, can you have compost? You can, because a good compost doesn't smell and none of your neighbors will notice it. Here is a real example of a compost that would be bad if it would look like this all the time. And this is a good compost that is mixed up and where the food doesn't rot. Compost should consist out of two components, out of green and brown matter. The green matter are all of the food scraps, like eggshells, vegetable scraps, coffee ground, mature manure, and chicken and rabbit manure. Green matter makes the compost heat up, and because of that, the microorganisms grow faster. And the brown matter are all of the leaves, branches, straw, sawdust, conifer needles, and it can also be paper and cotton fabric. Brown matter is like a food for microorganisms, so they can multiply, and in the end they turn the compost into an even mixture that looks like this. This would be something that we can already put on our garden. We should turn the compost around every 2 weeks if we are always adding new stuff inside, or at least once every 2 months if we don't add anything at all. We need to turn the compost often because the bacteria inside depend on the oxygen, and these aerobic bacteria, they don't make the toxins that smell. So that is why your neighbors won't even know that you have the compost in your garden. If by any chance you forget to turn the compost, you can start doing that at any time, and as soon as there is oxygen in the compost, these bacteria will start to grow. And at the end, you will get a good compost. You can also add bigger branches in the compost, so there will be even more oxygen inside. I will tell you now about some of the components that we need to take a little bit more care when adding them to the compost. The first one are dairy products. We can put it only in the middle if it is a bigger compost, so the temperature in the middle is high enough to kill the pathogens. The second one is oil. We can also put it only in the middle where it's the hottest, and it needs to be soaked before on paper or in sawdust. The third is meat. We need to be really cautious with meat. We can put it inside only if it's cooked and in small pieces, because the temperature in the compost isn't high enough to kill bacteria like Escherichia coli or Salmonella. And the fourth are non-organic vegetables. And yes, you can put them also, because the toxins that are on them, they will break down. Some will need a less and some will need a more time, but by the time that you will use it in your garden, they will break down completely. And how do you know when it is done? The smell of the compost should be like the one of a wet soil, and the color needs to be dark. And here are a few of the bigger pieces, but everything other looks good. If it's a lighter color, like here on the surface, it still isn't good enough. You will know it is not done if the compost has a smell of mushrooms, like an acidic smell. So here, deeper I dig, the better it looks. And after around 9 to 12 months, it would be the best to sift it through a sieve with holes around 1 centimeter and put the bigger pieces back to the compost. And the rest that is left is organic compost that is full of nutrients and that will help you to have the healthiest vegetables that you can grow. Here is an example how the compost can look, how it can be built. This one is made out of roof panels, but you can have a lot of options. You can use a lot of things to make it. It would be even better to make it with something that has holes on it, like this grill, or maybe wood panels, and you can make it any size that you want. It can be smaller, it can be bigger. You can fit even a smaller one if you have a balcony. You have a lot of options that you can use to make your compost.